for you guys. These webinars are made for you guys only, so this is part one. Okay, and part one basically is something that I have planned for you guys to start off with analyzing the market first, because I think there are some confusion out there amongst members and traders on knowing which pair to trade, how to actually combine that with knowing the actual trend, knowing which time frame you should be trading as well, and matching that with your equity, and a couple of other main basics that will be very good to know first before you actually progress. Okay, so this is where I want to start. So what I do, I'll take you through on what I personally do on a daily basis in terms of trend. Okay, now one of the things that I like doing before we go on to the heat maps and a couple of sites and all that, hopefully very soon you will get only one place where I will have all the tools for heat maps and knowing the strength of the currency and all that, all in one place in the FX Geometry members area. So you don't need to go into all the websites like bar chart, currency strength, and then action forex, all that. So you don't need to do that anymore. So very soon, hopefully by September onwards, we are pushing it greatly to have the FX Geometry website members area to be a launch in September. So that is like a must that we need to do. Okay, so we may also have a bit of a change of the website name URL as well, but I'll tell you guys later on that. So let's go into the first things first. So put this in mind when you're actually wondering what to trade for the day. It's always good for you to go onto the economic calendar. You can get the economic calendar from the FX Street, for example. You can get the economic calendar from Forex Factory and various other sites, or even brokers' websites that you can have the economic calendar. Now, I like personally using the FX Street. Now, what I do is I try to filter all the you can click on show filters, meaning I would like to know for this whole week. Let's say next week onwards on Monday, or let's say in the weekend you want to check for next week. You want to always plan for the week ahead, so you can start planning for your week ahead starting from Saturday or Sunday to get a look at what sort of economic data it's important. You can do that on a daily basis as well as a weekly basis. Okay, so this is important for you to know. Let's say today I woke up in the morning and I would like to start my day. Now, first things I would like to do is you could either look into the news or switch on your TV, look into Bloomberg and all that. But the thing is that it is confusing on what exactly to apply, for what pair to choose, and how to practically use all this information to actually trade. So we want to cut short and use a shortcut so we can go directly in applying it practically. So this is what you do. What you do is that you click onto the economic calendar for the day. I'm talking about the first ever steps that you can actually do. Okay, whatever things that you are doing before, like going onto Bloomberg, whatever, it's not wrong. You can still do it, but in terms of practicality, you go into the economic calendar, you click onto the filter section like I just did just now. Okay, and you click onto this one here. This means I would like to show I would like the economic calendar to show all the medium impact to high impact news only for the week. Okay, so I click on filter results, okay, or results, and then I get a list of them. Now today obviously it's Thursday, so I can then look at all these numbers that has already happened. Now you look under the actual. Now we are doing this economic calendar previewing or reviewing in a very different way from the things that we know. We as traders sometimes are taught to look into the actual result. If it's positive, you want to buy. We don't do that at all here. Okay, in the geometric trading method, what we actually do is just to look at the economic calendar to know what may shake the market for which currencies, that's all, and which country, that's it. We don't want to know about the trend because everything else can actually be false. So if you look into a positive number here, sometimes the market does not follow exactly that result that you see. So we don't do that. All I want to know is what are the medium and high impact economic data that is about to release or have actually been released for the day. That's it. Okay, so now I look at this, I know that all this one has actually been released, but for today there are some more pending ones here. Now for the pending ones that has not been released for today, you have got the USD dominance. That means USD data are actually waiting. Out of all the USD and the Canadian and the New Zealand data, the one that is catching my eye or our eye as traders is the Fed's Yellen testifies. Okay, she testifies at this specific time, and it's red. So we know that for the USD there is this important speech. It could be speech, it could be economic data as well. So the speech itself will be shaking the market, and in general, because there are so many other news that hasn't come up yet and they are medium in impact, that actually shows that the red one together with all the rest of the medium impact one may actually shake the news for the USD. Okay, so you've got USD jobless counts and claims and all that. We've also got the FOMC member Brainard speech. So we see that Yellen's speech is really important, and that is in red, and we know that majority, as you can see here, is the USD, because you want to also look at how many USD impact is there. So it's just like a team of football, okay, football fans. Okay, if you've got more fans, like these are all fans, let's say, of the USD team. So you got USD, 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 USD. You've got 5 there out of all the many ones, and then you've got one of the USD that is marked in red as the important one. So you know what you can then do is just write onto your piece of paper and just mark USD. It's not about trend, it's not about making a buy or a sell or whether it's coming down, going up. No, nothing like that. All you do is you have to start your mind first with a total blank piece of paper. You don't make any assumptions of trend, any assumptions of whether it's going up, going down, nothing like that at all. You keep a blank piece of paper and you start from step 1. You look into the economic calendar, you choose one, you type in USD. Why you type in, why did you actually write down USD is mainly because it has impact in the markets by the US because of Yellen's speech, and the other ones may impact, okay, not will, but may impact the US dollar. That's it. So you keep that in mind and you put USD and you write that down. You can also write CAD as well, so you know that for now what is pending is the CAD. Now I want to also tell you this. If you see loads of Chinese data, now, Chinese data, a lot of traders don't actually know, it impacts the US dollar. Okay, I want you to know that. I want you to understand that whatever positive happens in China, I repeat, whatever positive things happens in China in terms of economy or politics, mainly economic data and all that, it will impact positively as well. It is correlated positively. So if it's down in the Chinese market, usually it's down in the US dollar as well as the US market. The reason is the US dollar is still pegged to the Chinese currency. That also means for how much printing in the US that is going up, if US is planning to grow by printing, so there's inflation, let's say, that means they are actually printing a lot of money. They can call it QE, they can call it tapering. Every name and words that I've just said that they actually use are just talking about printing money. The more US prints the money, the more China has to follow suit, because the agreement behind the curtain between China and US is that they have to comply. China have to comply with a similar amount of US dollar has actually been printed by the US. They have to print out equivalent amount of Chinese yuan as well. That actually means they will create an inflationary, inflated value of the yuan as well. So when you see it up on the China side or Chinese yuan, okay, then you will see up on the US as well, and vice versa. Hence the reason there's a lot of hawkish type view in the US dollar for now. Okay, so that actually has to be mirrored. Hence the reason you see a lot of green numbers here. There is no surprise. This may actually be real, may not even be real. So we don't care about that. We don't care whether they are real, not real. We just want to know what are the players for the day, what kind of flags and what kind of currencies. That's it. Okay, but this tip that I've just told you, if the Chinese yuan goes up, economy goes up, it usually is a reflection of the upside as well by the United States. Okay, so this is very important for you guys to know. So in other words, US goes up, Chinese goes up, Chinese economy goes up and all that, that actually means it would be impactful on the gold. Hence the reason you're looking into depreciation of gold. Yes, it has gone up a little bit, but then you see it's struggling to go up. Okay, so here you go. So you've got all these things to consider. So now you've got the USD written already. Now, when you start off with the economic calendar, that is covering your fundamental side. This is telling you what economic data will be released impacting what sort of currency. So now you've got the answer to that question. What sort of currency for now, because these ones here are not released yet. All these ones are not released yet, right? So we've got USD. So you write down, like I've mentioned, US dollar. Okay, now you move to the next step. The next step, what we want to do is we want to look into the heat map, or we want to look into currency strength. We want to know which currency is strong, which currency are weak, but they are not accurate. I want to tell you that whatever tools I'm giving you, they are only tools, they are only indicators. Nothing should actually be taken as though they are 100%. Hence the reason, if I'm looking at a heat map, I want to look at only two sites. So the two sites that I recommend to look into the strength of the currency is number one, the bar chart. Okay, there you go. You've got barchart.com, barchart.com, bar chart, right? So this is the first one. The second one is livecharts.co.uk. But the two websites, I'm using it for the same function. The reason is because there are no real, very accurate information from just one site. So I want the two sites to merge the right side, or the right form of information, so that it is a little bit better in terms of its accuracy. Not 100% accurate, or not even 80% accurate sometimes, but it gives you a bit of an idea. But we only need this for now. Okay, so barchart.com, then you click onto Forex. Okay, and once you click onto Forex, you click onto the Forex heat map. Okay, this is where we are. The reason why we are doing all this, to get information from barchart.com and the livecharts.co.uk, is just to know which are the strong currencies and which are the weak currencies. That's it. Okay, so we've got the economic calendar already done. That is just to choose the USD. So we've got USD in our mind. So now we want to look into the trend. So that's why we go into the barchart.com, and now you can see that here on this one here, it's very interesting information. And the thing is that it doesn't give you this heat map is not based on 1 hour, 4 hour, daily. It doesn't give you the time frame. So if it doesn't give you a time frame, any other sites doesn't give you the time frame, usually it's for short term. So you can take this as a neutral type time frame of 1 hour. So it's not for long term, it's not for very short term, but it's for the neutral ground of 1 hour chart. So here you can then, based on the barchart.com, pick 3 currencies on the upside and 3 currencies on the downside. Which are the 3 strongest currency? Strongest currency, top HF. So what I do is I write down AUD, GBP. I do as a trader as well myself. Okay, I like to use it an old school way. I write it down on a piece of paper as well. I don't have very very high-tech type reporting or writing tools. I just use normal stuff. So you've got AUD, GBP, CHF, and these are the top 3 strong ones. What about the top 3 weak ones? You've got the top 3 weak ones here: CAD, USD, Euro. So I write that down as well. CAD, USD, okay, and the Euro. Okay, now when you look into writing down AUD, GBP, CHF, and then you write down CAD, USD, Euro, now you could actually see that the USD and CAD that we have got from the economic calendar matches with the heat map here amongst the top 3, but the USD falls, the and Canada falls as the weaker one. So we've got a little bit of an idea. We have picked USD, okay, as the one that we are waiting for some high impact news. Okay, it's mainly the speech by Yellen. All right, but in terms of trend, it's just giving us a bit of a hint based on bar chart that it is on the weak side. We just keep USD and then we keep bearish. We just put that very roughly in our mind. We don't actually make any decisions at this moment of time. We just want a hint. That's it, just a flavor. Okay, now we can move on to the other website, and this is the currency strength meter. I just want to look at whether or not the two sort of matches, you know, because this is where a lot of our traders are also finding it a little bit of a challenge or an issue in understanding which one is actually up or down, or how do we actually merge the two websites together to give us an idea. So now here we do the same. We look at the single bar and the highest bar. Okay, the highest bar, we don't care about the three bars and all others. No, we keep it very simple. We look at the highest bar. Now the highest bar shows us that you got a lot of strength in the GBP. Now that matches as well with what we have seen on Forex market map on bar chart. And then we look into the weakest one, and that's CAD. Now CAD also matches as well as the weakest one. So that's it. The highest bar, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars only. I don't care about the 5 and all that. I just want to sort of cross-check the two websites, and it actually, the livecharts.co.uk in terms of trend matches very nicely with the Forex market map in the barchart.com. So that's a good sign. So now I'll keep that in my mind, that these two matches. So I'll stick to AUD, GBP, CHF as the strong pairs to the upside as of trend at the moment, okay, and CAD, USD, Euro as the weaker one. That's it. So now we've got a bit of an idea. So you've got something to focus, which is the USD. Why? Because it's the economic data release, not the data release, sorry, the speech by Yellen. And then we've got all these other pairs as well. So we've got the USD on the weak side, right? Now the USD on the weak side could be paired with the other three that are strongest, which is basically AUD, USD. Okay, so I start combining it. I'd like to choose USD. I'm not choosing the Euro or the CAD, the weakest one. I choose the USD first. Why? Because the USD is the one that may actually have more impact, because on the fundamental side. Then I combine it with the strong one, because USD is the weak one, and then I combine with the three top strong ones. So I've got AUD USD, GBP USD, and USD CHF. So I do that: GBP USD, and then USD CHF. That's it. So you've got these three pairs to just focus on, look onto the charts, as well as looking into how you call that, looking into correlation or anything you want. You can look into more backup by the news or anything like that. So once you have these three in mind, let's say AUD USD, you know USD is on the weak side. So AUD USD, maybe we're looking into the upside. Okay, GBP USD, because GBP is strong also on the bar chart in terms of trend, so GBP USD on the upside. USD CHF on the sell side, because USD is on the downside, CHF is the upside. So then you go onto the chart and just look into these three and try to get an idea of what's going on. Okay, this is the simplest form of just getting a little bit of movement from your end to know where can I look at, what should I actually do onto the chart. Okay, so these are the simplest ways, but of course as we go on we try to make it much more detailed and a little bit more advanced, but I want you to start with the simplest way first. Okay, so you've got AUD USD, GBP USD, USD CHF, so you know now how to get these three pairs that I've just talked about, correct? Now you can move on one more site, and this is just to confirm whether or not the three pairs that you have chosen are also the pairs that maybe the big boys, the big movers are paying attention to as well. Okay, so then you go on to actionforex.com, okay, and you go on to the section that is called the top movers. I'm just waiting for it to download. Okay, there you go. So you've got markets, and then you see the top movers section. Only then you go on to the top movers. So you have picked yourself three pairs. Okay, you know roughly the trend as well. Okay, So then you look into the top 10. Now this is the top 10 section right here. So you've got 10 pairs. Now you want to look into this area here, the change with the percentage, as well as all these ones on what time frame they are actually based on as well. But let's just start by looking at from number 1 right down to number 10. From number 1 to number 5 itself, you can see a pattern. You can see a pattern, meaning which pair, which currency is mentioned the most, and it's in every one of that line from number 1 to number 5. You can see NZD, 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 NZD 5 times. So that is a very clear pattern that the top movers or the banks, hedge funds, and the bigger boys are also paying a lot of attention. Why I say that? Because you can see that the movement here, this kind of movement by the change percentage, are not by retail only. It has to be moved and supplement by the big boys, or sparked or started by the big boys first, and then you get the whole pool of traders coming in. But their focus looks like it's for NZD. Now when we picked the 3 pairs earlier on, AUD, USD, GBP, USD, USD, CHF, none of these 3 has got NZD in there. Okay, so in other words, we may have missed out something that has to do with NZD. Okay, now let us first look into the trend, and we can then start writing, oh, NZD, because NZD seem to be the focus of the big boys, because you got it from number 1 until number 5. Okay, so NZD, let's look at what they are doing with NZD. I mean, majority of the traders has actually, from this morning onwards when market open, what have they been doing? Have they been selling or buying NZD? Here it's a buy, because it's a positive sign, correct? So they've been buying NZD versus CAD, buying NZD versus USD, which is a good sign, because if NZD is stronger, that means USD is weak. So USD, again, we have done the trend analysis earlier on, and we look into bar chart as well as the other ones. So it's showing USD's weakness, correct? So that's a good sign. And then NZD here, another buy. Euro NZD, Euro they are selling, but then they are buying NZD. Okay, so this is basically it. So you have got a lot of buys of NZD. So here you want to write it down again and try to pay attention with the NZD as well. Why? Because you want to pay attention to what the big boys are paying attention to. Of course, you've got your side of analysis. You want to combine that with what the big boys are doing. Okay, so now you may have AUD USD, GBP USD, USD CHF, as well as NZD USD. Okay, you can do that too, NZD USD. All right. So now, because of the big boys, you want to pay a lot of attention with the big boys. You want to know that, okay, now I've got top 5, and all top 5 people are, I mean, most of the other traders, big ones, are paying attention in buying the NZD. So what you can do next is study a little bit about NZD. Look, because this is where they are paying attention to. You see NZD, 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 and all that. So until number 5 here, you got NZD as well. So this is basically what we want. You've got another pattern as well. They are also paying attention. CAD here, you got CAD here as well. You got some AUD, AUD. You've got loads of AUDs. After the NZD, the bottom ones are all AUDs, but they are actually buying. Again, they are buying all the AUDs. So you want to pay attention with the AUD as well. Okay, so we want to always pay attention to what the big boys are doing. After you've done your picking of the 2-3 pairs that you have, you want to pay attention to what the big boys are doing. Okay, then we look onto the chart. So now you've got a lot of buying of NZD, a lot of paying of attention of NZD buying, and a lot of paying attention at the bottom list on buying AUD as well. So now let's look into what's going on with NZD and AUD. Just focus on these two, NZD, AUD, NZD, AUD. Okay, so let's just also make sure whether tomorrow, let's say, would there be anything expected for NZD AUD as well, because a lot of people are buying, most of the bigger traders are buying NZD and buying AUD. Is there a reason as well? We don't know that yet. We haven't actually gone and researched the news. We've not heard anything on the TV, so we don't know. But then people are already started to buy. Usually the bigger boys, they will start doing something much earlier than all of us. We are retail traders, so retail traders always very late to the party. The big boys always very early to the party because they create the party. Okay, so this is something you need to understand. Now, the thing about tomorrow as well is that if you are preparing for tomorrow already, then you can see that you can actually go on your USD type trade. Okay, whether it's a sell or a buy, let's wait first because we want to confirm. We know that the trend is on the downside. We want the charts to confirm. But because tomorrow you have got more USD rate, all the rate one are USD, so the USD can be impacted from today until tomorrow. Today you've got the FOMC, and then tomorrow you've got all this data coming out. So you've got a long way to go. This kind of trend for the USD can actually last until next week because you've got so many fundamentals to give it like battery, you know. Can give it a lot of what do you call that, push for the USD to remain strong, whether it's a downside or upside. Basically the trend will remain quite strong because you are getting a lot of fundamental factors as well. Okay, so there we go. One thing I want to make you guys understand is that the fundamentals are very important. Not really for you to understand what exactly each economic report. You don't need to do that. You just need to know what is the flow, what currencies has got what kind of economic data, so that currency will be impacted. That's it. We want to keep it very simple. Okay, you don't need to go in and understand the numbers and everything else, because everything else are not accurate anyway. There's a lot of hogwash, you know, they call it, a lot of things that have been added onto the market, and a lot of brokers and a lot of other training companies, they make the fundamentals as a course. So they want to sell their course, so they have to you know, tell you that you need to know that and this, and make it like as though you are learning, as though you are getting a degree or a master's degree in economic calendar. You know, you don't need to do that at all, because that will not be practical, and you will end up using so much time for that, and then you cannot practically apply and you cannot see results after that. Okay, so this is the shortcut for it, is just do as I mentioned earlier on. You go into all that, and then you want to pay attention to what the top movers are doing, but also what the economic calendar is actually publicizing, what kind of economic data are going to be released and going to be scheduled. So this is very important, because the bigger boys, now bigger boys meaning hedge funds and then bank traders and everything in the FX desk and everything, they are focusing on a lot of economic event. Okay, they are, you wouldn't call them exactly news trader, but they do rely a lot on news. But more than news, they rely on the how you call that, central banks rates, you know, the interest rates, and that's why the BOJ or BOE or ECB, all their announcements are super important for the big boys. Okay, so you want to understand that this is where they look at as well. Economic calendar is very important. They don't look at economic calendar like we do. They go onto Bloomberg platform and all the alerts come through there, so they just want to know what are the numbers and how good is it for the investors. Okay, so you need to understand that. So let us focus again on NZD AUD. Okay, so NZD AUD, let's because why did we do that? Because we go onto the top movers and we notice that you got a pattern. NZD people are buying. Okay, top movers are buying. AUD top movers are buying as well. So what you can do then is focus and laser on NZD and AUD. When I say laser and focus, I mean that you can then use Action Forex as well, where you can just look into the pairs itself on its own. Okay, so you can go and look into Australian dollar, NZD. So look into NZD first, and then we look into, so NZD here gives you a summary against all the other major currencies. So then you want to make sure the trend of NZD, how strong is it? Look at the biggest move here. The biggest move is you got a plus 1%. That's bigger than 0 point. Okay, so plus 1, NZD is moving the most on the upside against the yen. Okay, so yen is the weakest compared to all other currencies if it is compared to NZD. So NZD is a strong buy versus the yen. Okay, then you've got second place, here. NZD versus Canadian dollar. Again, is very strong. NZD is stronger than Canadian dollar. NZD is stronger than CHF by 90.90% plus percent. Okay, then you've got this number here. Euro as well is getting weaker compared to NZD, but then you've got a small number here also picking up. That means AUD is weaker than NZD. So even though we are focusing on AUD and ZD, we know that NZD is still much stronger. But it's a good sign that all of these pairs that we can actually see, we got the conclusion that NZD is strong. So you can write a little note, NZD strong, USD weak, AUD strong as well, but not as strong as NZD. So when you get the trend idea in your mind, then you look for bullish or bearish pattern that goes together with what you have just seen. Okay, so that's basically it. So now NZ, if you want to focus on NZD, now NZD versus the JPY seem to be moving quite a lot. You can write NZD JPY as well. Okay, so let's say I've got NZD JPY, I've just put it on my paper, AUD USD, GBP USD, USD CHF, and NZD USD. So I just focus on these 5 pairs. At this moment of time, I look for patterns. These are the simplest way for you to do things. Okay, I hope that's clear for you guys. I hope the part on using the economic calendar together with the barchart.com and livecharts.co.uk and Action Forex, it's clear for you guys, because this is a tool that is rarely used by loads of retail traders like us. Okay, and it can be used properly in order to dissect and find pairs, but most importantly to practice your geometric patterns as well and find opportunities to trade. Okay, all right, so let's get on to it now. Before I go on to the pairs I've just mentioned, I want to also talk about what I've shared with you guys. I've shared with you guys the latest one was USD CAD on a 4-hour chart. This is a Z-like pattern. The Z-like pattern, now any pattern that I talk about, whether I sent it by Telegram or mentioned to you guys by messages or any way possible when I shared trade ideas, we as the geometric pattern traders, we only concentrate on trading the last leg. The last leg is the C to D leg. Okay, it does happen with all other patterns as well, the ABCD especially, whether they are bearish or bullish, and the Z-like pattern. This Z-like pattern, for example, we are only trading the C to D. Okay, we're not trading usually the other legs, but it's not wrong for you guys to do that if at all you are the short-term trader and you're looking into the trend that is on the downside or the upside, and it fits with your equity and your time frame that you pick. So there's no wrong or right, but I'm just going to be telling you about the chart pattern itself. The chart pattern itself, we are only trading the C to D leg. Okay, so I want to make it very clear to you guys. If I look into the USD CAD 4-hour chart, it does not mean that all of you guys, even trading the 15 minutes and 30 minutes or the 5 minutes, can actually follow exactly. You need to find patterns, whether it's a bearish pattern or bullish pattern, based on the trend that you have just, like what I've just taught you just now on the trend, the top movers, and combining all the sites I have showed you, you will then pick out the time frames that you want, a cluster of 3. If your equity is low, you want to concentrate only on a cluster of 3 time frames. Okay, so that is shorter time frame. If your equity is low, let's say 500 and below, up to 500 or so, it's best for you not to even look into 1-hour chart. It's safer for you to look into 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30. When I say when you look into 5 minutes, 15 minutes or 30 minutes, I'm talking about the actual trade and you looking for patterns and drawing patterns in either one of these lines. I'm not saying you cannot look into longer time. You can look into longer time frame just to determine the trend on the longer term. That's it. Okay, but when you're actual trading, drawing patterns, whatever, and you want to enter the trade, whatever, should be based on equity low, less than 500. You want to cluster up 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and 30 minutes, and you want to check trends on all these 3 time frames as well. If you've got medium, 500 and above, up to about 3,000 or so, you can then look into 30 minutes, 1 hour, and 4 hour maybe, but it's best 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, like that. Okay, if you've got a 5,000, 10,000 and above, then you can focus on 1 hour, 4 hour daily maybe, or even 1 hour for the 4 hour and a daily chart. Okay, but if you've got between 5,000 and all that, still under 4 hour would probably be much better for you. This is so that you don't get trapped into the big whipsaws or the big correction, the corrective moves. Okay, so I want you to be very, very clear. Your time frame selection has got to do with your equity. It's not wrong for you to have low equity, but it's always right for you to build up your equity until you know the right time frame to actually use. The higher time frame only as your equity grows as well. Okay, this is just to save you from being cut out by the market when the corrections are really big. Okay, so that is something I want to clear out with you guys. I've shared with you guys on USD CAD. Now the Z-like pattern here, it actually means that we are looking at a correction very soon on the USD CAD to go up, because we are trading from C up to D here. So I'm expecting on the 4-hour chart, okay, remember this, on the 4-hour chart, I'm expecting a uprise move. But then when you look into the trend and all that, USD is on the downside. So the downside may be in the lower time frame, and this is a medium time frame, from medium to long, because we are looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, but as we go into the 5-minute chart, let's look at this. Just want to look into trend a little bit more. Okay, this is USD CAD. 1 second, let me insert the 3 indicators that we use to determine trends are the moving averages, exponential, 50, 100, and 200. So you go into the trend. For those who are extremely new here, you've got your moving average right there, and you want to first go on to the 50. Okay, exponential applied on close, any color you want, as long as you can differentiate between the lines, okay, between which is which, 50, 100, and 200. So you've inserted the 50, you go on to the 100 now. Okay, and go into the 100 exponential moving average. Just simply type in the numbers, change the color. So I've got my 100 applied. Now the very last line that I apply, I don't use the moving averages in any way for crosses, entering, exit, no, just to determine the trend. Okay, so be very careful with this, because I applied the usage of indicators like moving average, ADX, or anything that I apply is the application onto the geometric trading method. So I may not use the indicators as what the same way that other traders are using, because they've got a different strategy, different methodology. I've got a different one myself, so I use the indicators differently. Okay, so this is important for you to understand. Then we go on to changing this, applying the very last line of 200 exponential moving average. Okay, there you go. So you've got this one done. Now on the 5 minutes chart, you have got what you just want to look at is whether or not the candles are moving above all 3 lines or under all 3 lines. Now I want to also tell you about this. When you look into the wave of the trend itself, yeah, let me just do this. When you look into this one here, let's say here, okay, now when you look into high and then you look into low and then you look into high as well and then low again, I want you to also pay attention with what is going on between the high and low. Okay, so now you've got high, low, and then high again, and then low again, correct? Now this low and this low, which one is longer? This one is much longer, but then the lows, the selling become less here, because it is still up, down, but then it is less powerful than this one here. But then as it goes up, for example like this, then the one in between is showing you it's getting longer. Okay, so what it shows here is maybe this one is as long as this, sorry. Okay, so whatever goes in between is telling you what could potentially happen. In between between the lines, we call it, this one is between the charts, okay, between the swings. So you've got a swing down and then up and then down and then up and then down again, a lot of down. So this was down, but the down got longer and then the down got very long here. So this is showing you that they've got a lot of potential to the downside, hence the reason you've got a lot of downward type move. Okay, so let us analyze this a little bit. So we have got, as you can see, when you zoom out, you've got, let's say, start from here, anywhere you want to start, as long as you can see a lot of waves. Okay, so this one came down a little, some upward move. Okay, as it went down and down and down, you could see that the upward move is getting less and less. That means the upward strength is getting less. Then it came down a bit and a little bit and then got resistance in either one of the line, and then came down, resistance again. So you can see that the upward type move is not as strong as the downward type move. So hence the reason you've got loads of downward power, a lot of downtrend movement. Okay, and then you look into, after you look into what goes on between the charts, between the candles, okay, between the swings, you can then also look at the position of the candles, whether under all three lines or not. You want to also make sure that it came down or went up. Did it actually find the correction at either one of the line? Like this one, it got blocked by the line, it got blocked by the line here, got blocked by the line, and it's actually a very good sign if it's blocked there. If it's blocked there, that means blocking it from going up, and it's a strong block. Okay, and once it does that, it pushed or pulled prices downward. So now candles are very far away from the three lines, and then as we cluster it, we start with 1 hour, let's say 4 hour or daily. But if your equity is within I would say less than 500, don't follow what I'm doing with 1 hour, 4 hour daily. You have to go and switch on to 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You understand? This is the most effective way, because if you want to follow me and look into 1 hour, 4 hour daily, you can do that as well, but this is mainly to look into the trend on all these things, but not for you to trade it. You need to look into lower time frame. Is your equity is lower than 500, you focus on 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. But then you can always think about the overall trend, yes, so that whatever you look into the short term, if it supports a long term as well, it's a very good sign. That means your probability is higher in riding that trend. That means you're riding the trend. Okay, so now let's say I'm going on 1 hour and then I go into the 4 hour chart. Okay, and the 4 hour chart is giving me a lot more sign that it's getting weaker. It's under all three lines as well. Then as I go onto the daily chart, again, it's actually giving me that very nice thing. Now the thing is that when it comes downwards and under all three lines, it's great to know that the trend is on the downside, but how long more can it actually come down to? Hence the reason I trade patterns. So patterns sort of give me that limit. Okay, it comes down, but because it's a Z-like pattern, maybe it's very close to a correction at this moment of time. Okay, so now we're expecting an upward move, correcting for USD CAD between 4 hour chart and daily chart. So we are expecting, based on that pattern, that it may actually go up. So if you have got your equity less than 500, it may go up. Is a hint that you want to look for bullish pattern, but don't look for bullish pattern on the 4 hour daily or even 1 hour, because your equity is less than 500. So you can look for a bullish ABCD, for example, on lower time frame, for example on 5 minutes, 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But we want to check the trend first. So we go on to 5 minutes. Let's say you want to trade the USD CAD. We are looking like there's a potential on the 4 hour chart to have a Z-like pattern, and it's on its way up. But this way up is not for you to trade on a long time frame if your equity is less than 500. So we look into the 5 minutes chart, we look at it. Oh yes, there is a sign on the way up starting from 5 minutes. Brilliant. So we are looking at the price of 1.2769, 68, around there. Yeah, and let's look into whether or not the strength of the trend to the upside is also stronger on the 15 minutes chart. So we go into the 15 minutes chart. Now on the 15 minute chart, it has entered the confusion zone, okay, which actually means that it may find resistance there. It might actually pierce through, but it's just too early to tell, and it's not ideal for you to enter a trade based on candles that are between all three lines. You want to check the trend on 3 time frames, but you want to make sure that your candles are either above all three lines or under all three lines. Now when you compare 5 minutes, 5 minutes was good, very clear on the upside because it's above all three lines. But as you go into the 15 minutes chart, the traders have entered a bit of a confusion mode. They are in between the lines now. It is touching the 200 moving average, and we don't know what will happen, whether it find resistance or pierce through it. Okay, so we don't know. Let's just go on to and move on to the 30 minutes. On the 30 minutes, it's not going higher. So that actually tells you that it's now lower and found resistant or just touching the 50 exponential moving average. What does that mean? That actually means that the power to the upside between 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 30 minutes are not strong. Okay, it's not getting stronger, the upside. What's getting stronger on the short term, maybe between 5 minutes to 30 minutes, there's maybe still some room to the downside. You understand? So even though your 500 equity, you have 500 less than 500 as your equity, you still can trade, of course, but you cannot follow the you're not supposed to follow the trend signals on the 4-hour daily and all that. You have to go on to the lower time frame. But if your lower time frame, 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 30 minutes, does not actually match, because based on the pattern I have actually drawn and the trade idea I've given you is based on a 4-hour chart. On the 4 hours is giving you that upward move, okay? But on the 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, there's no upward move pattern or trend. So you just don't trade yet, okay? That's it. Because the thing is that a lot of traders, they find that it is a must and they must trade. When I release a signal on a 4-hour chart, you must trade. So you go into lower time frame and you just trade the same direction I have mentioned. Okay, so I've mentioned an upward potential on the 4-hour chart. You go on to the 5 minutes, 15 minutes and all that, and you confirm and you look at it, there's no upward kind trend because the pattern, what do you call, the candles are not above all three lines. But a lot of traders, they're a little bit stubborn, whereby they just enter the trade thinking that they can follow my trade idea because it's on the upside, and I have said that it's quite a high probability pattern. High probability pattern means it's high probability on that time frame. Does not mean that it will be high probability for you if you are trading on a low time frame and your low time frame does not comply in terms of trend with my 4-hour chart. If your low time frame also complies in terms of trend with my time frame, then you can enter, and then the probability will be as high for you as it is for me. I hope that is clear for you guys, okay? Because this is the #1 mistake that most of the traders do, because I just want to cover this part of it, because I'll be releasing lots of signals for all the members using the NAMI bot as well very soon, maybe another couple of days. So by Monday or so we will definitely make that happen. That's why I want to help you with all the webinars first. But the thing about webinars as well is that I want to polish up all the doubts as well. That means I want to clarify, I want to make clear how you choose the pairs, how you choose the trend, and how you actually follow my signals, okay? Because my signals are based on various time frames, and the thing is that you can actually follow them, but you need to make sure that it complies with your set of time frame. Your set of time frame has to be decided based on your equity. All right, hope that is clear. So I think that's a little bit on the clear side. Are you guys getting this? Any questions about what I've just said? If it's not clear, just we have to clarify it like quickly and let me know, and I'm very happy to repeat whatever I've just mentioned earlier on. Okay, everything clear on this end on how you pick the pairs, how you look into the sites, how you follow my signals? Yeah, it's clear on the time frames as well. No questions? Okay, let's see. I've got a response. All good. Thank you, Sashi, for that. Brilliant. Okay, good. So I'm glad that that's clear out, because this is the fundamentals, you know, before we go on to the pattern, because the patterns itself has got its own mechanics, and then we need to go back onto trend, and then we've got Fibonacci, then we've got advanced patterns. So we've got loads and loads of webinars to do. Okay, a lot of tutorials for you guys as well. I'll be recording some webinars as well for your tutorial, and I'll be sending it to you. I'll send you this recording as well. So that's basically it. Now, I've given you the pairs, and I want you guys to do a little bit of homework, a practical homework, whereby I've given you AUD USD, GBP USD, USD CHF, NZD USD, as well as NZD JPY. I want you guys to look onto these pairs if you guys want to. Of course, if you guys want to make money from it as well, is to go onto these pairs and choose the time frame you want based on your equity, okay, lower time frames and all that. Check through the trend on all the time frames if you want, no problem. If you want to check on a time, the trend itself, you can check on all time frames. But when you want to come to the point of drawing the pattern, choosing which time frame, it has to match with your equity. Okay, so go on to these pairs I've just mentioned: AUD USD, GBP USD, USD CHF, NZD USD, and NZD JPY. I want you to pick up a cluster of 3 time frames each. Okay, so I can teach you how then to produce signals as well, so we all can share. You can analyze the market, how to analyze the market, and then draw the correct pattern for it. Okay, so I want you to choose these pairs and have it in mind that the AUD GBP CHF as of today is still on the strong side. CAD USD Euro is still on the weak side. Okay, on the top movers, a lot of buying interest are on the NZD and AUD. Okay, so when you have all this in terms of trend into your mind, just to give you a bit of a reminder what's on the upside, what's on the downside, then you can match with your what do you call that, the chart. So I give you one sample. Okay, so let's say we just go on to what the top movers are concentrating on. Let's say it's NZD JPY. So let's go on to NZD JPY. Let's see whether it makes any sense or not, what's going on. So you got NZD here, you got NZD JPY here. So I drag that. Now I'll get, let's say I'm using the 1 hour chart as my base. Excuse me on that. Now, for those who have asked me about drawing support resistance line and checking trend. Now, if you've got a cluster of 3 time frames, let's say I'm interested in a 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily chart, and I start off with my 1 hour chart. One time frame up is 4 hour. Now your one time frame up is for you to draw any support resistance line you want. It's usually the best way. And 2 time frames up, which is the daily chart, could actually be the time frame that you can determine the trend. Okay, but it's not really necessary to look at that trend side of things, like how I've just mentioned. You can always do as I've mentioned earlier on, that you want to compare all 3 time frames, keep it simple, and look at whether or not the candles are above all 3 lines or under all 3 lines. Okay, so here NZD JPY on the top movers side of it is showing you a positive on the NZD, meaning a lot of top traders, big traders, are focusing on an upward type move and a lot of bullishness and a lot of buying. Correct. So here we can see that reflected on the 1 hour chart for the NZD JPY. We can see that majority of what do you call that, candles are above all 3 lines, which is a good sign. But it's not very clear in terms of the trend. The reason why I say that is because you look at the movement of the 3 lines, the 3 EMAs, exponential moving averages, are sort of touching each other, not traveling wide apart from each other and pointing upwards. Okay, so there is something going on there. So let us just look into the next time frame, which is 4 hour chart. Let's see what's going on. Okay, now here you could see that it sort of found support very close to the 100 moving average, but again candles are still above all 3 lines. Okay, now what about the price? The price on the right side, it's bang on the psychological numbers of 83.00. so we need prices to go 83.10 and above to give us some sort of what do you call that, assurance that it has got more power to the upside. Now the reason as well why it may be you know, finding resistance or things like that is based on what's going on at this area here. As you can see, at this area here, it's got a bit of a resistant peak. Okay, so here you want to draw the support resistance line, okay, the zone, not the line, based on the highest body. and then based on, you want to always draw two lines when it comes to support resistant line. So when you draw that based on this peak, highest body, highest wick, you can see that it's finding resistance. So there is a potential of market coming downwards a little bit for the NZD. There's a bit of a correction, maybe change of trend, we don't know, maybe it's correction, we don't know that either. Okay, so at least you know, yes, it's upward trend and everything else, but as of now it may be finding a bit of corrective move, trying to come down a little bit before it bounce up again. We don't know that yet, so we cannot get too excited to buying now. So that is the most important thing. Okay, now daily chart. There you go. So on the daily chart, we've got it right up above. Again, it's finding resistance right there. So in other words, it needs to go past the 83.14 area as marked, but then 83.1415, it's really close to 83.20, which is the psychological level. So we want to look at price now compared to which psychological level that is closest, and we mark that as 83.20. So we just want to mark the 83.20 area as your psychological level as well. Okay, so you have got your 83.20 marked right there. So prices is just down here, around here, and it has not gone pierced through all these three lines. Once it does to the upside, then you have got more move to the upside planned. Okay, but then if you look left, you've got some resistant area here as well, which you want to mark. So you can always mark with the highest body right there. Okay, and you want that to be marked based on this as well if you want. Right here, highest wick, which is very close to this one here. So in other words, you've got lots of resistance now. Price for NZD is very close to a lot of resistance. Now, true enough, you've got a lot of what do you call that, interest earlier today. Okay, that's why it's very good for you to look into the top movers earlier in the morning, especially London time, London open onwards. Okay, so London open onwards will be 2 o'clock p.m. on at your time in Malaysia itself. From that time itself, afternoon onwards, because the forex market moves a lot more when the London market opens. Now, the biggest transactions that happen in the forex industry is in London. It's not in New York, it's not in Chicago, it is in London. So the foreign exchange market transactions are based on lots of movements in London. Okay, I want you to understand that. That's why a lot of things does actually depend on London. For equities and all that, it's New York. For commodities, it's Chicago. Okay, so but forex is in London. All right, there you go. So here itself, I could draw a sort of resistance. So now you understand that from support resistance itself, it gives you an idea whether or not the trend that you look at the top movers is still going on or not. You see, is it still going on? Is it weakening? So here it may be weakening already because you have got a resistance zone. So don't get too excited with something you see in the top movers and then you just want to enter your trade following what you see. No, it cannot happen that way, because you will go into a lot of trouble that way, because you can see it's finding a lot of resistance now based on all these evidence of falling prices here. Okay, so if you enter based on the top movers now and you go and buy your NZD now, you may be suffering quite a lot. Okay, so this is basically where you want to understand where to keep your excitement based on what you see. Maybe you see the livecharts.co.uk, you see that bar is so high, let me buy. No, if you do that, you can do that if you want, the freedom is yours, but whether you'll burn your pockets and make a big hole in it or not is another story. Okay, so this is basically very, very important for you. Okay, so that's basically it. I have my phone ringing, sorry about that, but that's okay. I just want to ask you guys whether you guys have got any questions about your current trades, anything that you're not sure, and we can then continue. Okay, be sure to look into the next other webinars. I will produce some more tutorial recorded one, pre-recorded ones, and then more live ones as well. The pre-recorded ones, I will draw the patterns, I will go step by step the patterns, the exact strategies as well, advanced patterns slowly, and then the basics one first, and then advanced patterns as well, and then look into Fibonacci and a couple of things just to make it sharper. okay, your trades. So any questions at all, guys? If not, then we'll end it here, and I will convert the video and have that link sent to you as well onto the Telegram group, so you can watch it in your own time. Okay, any questions at all? Yes? No? No response? Any questions, guys, on your current trades? Don't be shy to ask. Ask as much and I can answer as much. I can only answer as much as you ask. Yeah? No response at all? No questions coming from anybody? Don't be shy. What about your trades? Any current trades that is actually floating at the moment that needs to clarify? Where is it going? What is it going to be done? How do we manage that trade? It is in negatives, but you know, are there ways that we can look into? What are the things we need to look into and ways to manage that trade that is going negative and getting bigger and bigger? Do you have any situation like that going on with you guys at the moment? No? Alright guys, it looks like there's no questions. Okay, we've got one popped up. Good. Fantastic. Mr. Kunan, thank you very much for that. Okay, we've got AUD USD. Yes, let's look into that. That's one of it that we have mentioned as well, right? So AUD is on the upside, USD on the downside. Let's look into AUD USD very quickly. Let's look into AUD USD. Start off with the 1 hour chart. We have got prices at 7726, which is very, very close to 7720 psychological number. Let's just insert that first. Okay, 7720. Okay, 0.7720 is your psychological level that is closest to the price now. Okay, we can see that on the 1 hour chart you've got a very strong upward type movement, and it's a very nice clear upward trend with all these three lines actually quite far apart from each other. Okay, which is a very good sign. Now we want to zoom out a little bit like this. Okay, AUD is still on the buy side as well, as you have seen on the top movers list. A lot of movement to the upside, concentration of buyers. There's a lot of concentration of investors to the buy side as well. So this is just based on a 1 hour chart. It has passed the 7720 area, is at 7725 now. We would like it to pierce through the 7730 first for us to get a bit of an idea of how strong that upward move could be. Now it's looking like a little bit of corrective move is happening. Let's go on to the 4 hour chart. On the 4 hour chart you could see that the same story. It is actually quite strong. It is still very, very strong. Now as we go into the 4 hour chart, because we looked at it from the 1 hour chart, so the one time frame up 4 hour is a good chart or time frame to look at support resistance. Okay, so when we look at it from a big picture like this itself, we have got the price, current price here, but look at the trend is on the upside. But has it got challenges from previous movement? As you can see from where prices are at the moment, it's got previous resistance, loads of resistance that are actually very close to the current price. So we zoom in a little bit and we start drawing the support resistance based on highest peak, highest what do you call that, body, and highest peak. So we've got one that is actually quite close. We've got this one here. This one here is a resistance that is quite significant. It was a very big move here, boom, all the way down. You can take this one here as well, but this resistance level or area has got a little bit of down and then up, and then it went up here, but the fall started from around here and around here. Okay, so what you can do is based on this area here, you draw the highest candle right there, okay, and the highest wick. Then we have got sort of a zone. Now that zone is a resistance zone based on that big fall downwards here. Okay, and that fall is actually sort of, let's see, from this very top, let's say just from the body itself right down to this end here, it's already about 300 over pips. So that's quite a significant drop. Anything 100 and above, we can consider that as a very significant move, whether it's on the upside or a downside. Okay, so that is a good one there. Now let's look into the big picture again. So when you have encapsulated that area, making it a zone, you can see that you've got resistance there, you've got resistance there. Okay, you've got a very nice resistance right there as well, the dot, and then you've got bigger resistance there all the way down as well. Okay, and then we just want to check. So we have got, let me just, yeah, then we've got concentration of price as well in this zone here. As you can see, some support as well has actually gone on there, so that's a good sign. I just want to check whether or not it has actually fallen from that area quite well. So it does show that it's quite a strongish type resistant area. So what I'll do next is just to zone it out with this blue rectangle right there, just to give me a bit of an indicator right there. So this actually then show, based on the 4-hour chart, that prices is sort of trapped in within this zone at the moment, between the 7750 area and the 7700 area, as you can see, because the 0.7704 is very close to the 00, right? So what I'll do next is I'll just add on the line at 7700 as well. Okay, so 7700 psychological level. Okay, add one more line right there just to give you an indication, and then another line at the very top at 7750. Okay, so we'll just insert that. There you go. So you got 7750 right there. There you go. Okay, so once you've got that zone, now you know that this is an area right there, and you can see that prices is in between all these lines, and it needs to go either above to give you that clarity of trend, or under. At this stage, it is just dangling in between these lines, and it's just causing some sort of confusion as well. Okay, but it does look to me like it's got a lot of strength to the upside still, but it needs to help us as traders to make decision only after it has gone under all these lines or above all these lines. Okay, once it does go above, let's say it has cleared a lot of major resistance, it may actually be to the way on the way upside. On the way down, for example, it may have more challenges to go through or pierce through all the three lines. So what we need to do at this moment of time for AUD USD is for prices itself to give us an indication which direction we need to go. So we need to wait for the prices to either pierce through that zone first, or upwards or downwards. Okay, if it does to the downside, obviously it's a downward trend. If not to the upside, it's the upward trend. So at this stage, it's probably best for us to wait and see until it pierces through and go out of that zone of all these red lines that I have just drawn. Okay guys, is that clear? Mr. Kunan, hope that is clear for you on the AUD USD. You can always go on to the 5-minute chart as well, look into what's going on there. As you can see, it's confusion mode even on the 5-minute chart, because it's not above all three lines or under all three lines. It's actually trading in between the 50 and the 100 moving average, so exponential moving average. So on the 15 minutes chart, for example, it's giving you a little bit of a upward type momentum above all three lines, and then on the 30 minutes chart, more upward. On the 1 hour, more upward. So you've got clarity on the 15, 30, 1 hour on what you call that upward type move, which is a very good sign. And then on the 4 hour, you've got more upward. On the daily, you've also got more upward. So this does actually give us a hint that more upward move is expected. Okay, but in terms of timing, not now. In terms of trading, not now. So when is it? It's only after it gives you the indication of piercing through these lines. Okay, so 7730 onwards, better still 7750 onwards. Above 7750 at this moment it's trading very close to the 7720 psychological level. You need it to go above 7750 and above, like 7760 onwards, and only then probably you can get a better idea of not only the trend, but maybe some other patterns may actually be forming. Okay, so here itself I have got a little bit of a potential Z-like pattern here that goes all the way up here. So it is somehow signaling a potential downward move. Only then it will complete the Z-like pattern. So this is another thing. So it may actually find somewhere here only to go upwards, and this is based on the daily chart itself, so on the long side of it. Okay, so on the daily chart, for those who are having higher equity level and trading on the daily chart, you are looking at potential to the downside here. So if you leave your trade for the downward type trend, trading how you call that, under 7700, let's say your pending order on the sell, you can leave that. So that's hence the reason why equity is very important, and trading on a daily chart only fits, I would think, equity of minimum 10K and above. So that then you can afford to do that, to leave it, do the pending order, and then just sell basically pending order under 7700 and look into that. So if it does happen, it will trigger it. If it doesn't happen, even not, it won't trigger your order, and you can then just cancel your order. Okay. All right, guys. So that's basically it I have for you guys on the daily chart now. I mean on the AUD USD, and I'll just look into questions. Okay. So here we've got another. All right. There's another question about pending order. Can we use pending order for buy stop? Yes, you can. Of course, you can use pending order on any type of order, because if we are pattern traders, for example, we are executing our orders, whether it's pending or spot, based on the pattern. So you can definitely do pending orders on all type of orders. It does actually depend as well. You have to be very careful whether you are on the right time frame following your equity to do the pending. So if you've got, let's say, an example, 500 less, and you are doing a pending order based on the daily chart, like what I've just showed you, that would actually be creating some risk. Okay, so the answer to that question is yes, you can do your pending order on based on the patterns and every strategy that I've showed you, but you need to be very careful what time frame your pending order is based on, matching with your equity level. Okay, very, very important. All right, next question. One question on AUD USD. There is many more peaks to the left. Yes, very, very good and well spotted. How far should we go to consider the peaks for resistance? Now, it is not a matter of how far back. It is a matter of how strong that peak was, how much fall, like a waterfall. Has the waterfall fallen 300 pips down, or has that waterfall fallen only 20 pips down? If you've got two peaks, one is like very far away a few years ago, and that has actually fallen almost 1,000 pips, okay, let's say, just an example, and then you've got one that you can see just yesterday fallen about 200 pips. Okay, obviously the one that has fallen with the most pips has got very significant impact. Something strong has caused that big fall. So you want to always measure based on that impact of the peak. How did that peak form? How did it fall? How much has it fallen? That's basically where we want to look at. We don't want to look at how many. We want to go as far back, but we want to spot at the biggest possible, most significant fall or most significant rise. Okay, so we go and do a bit of a sample here on the AUD USD, for example. That's why I let's say pulled the crosshair and look at how many number of pips as well, right? So here, for example, you've got a fall here. Yes, you've got a fall here. Yes, but look at this one here. This one here is a more significant fall compared to the rest. That significant fall, as I've given you earlier on, if it is peak to peak or week to week, then you are looking into 600 over pips. Okay, so that is a significant what do you call that, fall. So as we go on, let's say, as we go on and on and on, do we actually find any other resistance? Now here, this one here, for example, is quite a significant rise, let's say. So, and it is within the lines that we have showed. So it has to be a significant rise of number of pips or a significant fall of the number of pips. So here it went up came down, boom, it went up again. So that total how you get a rise of pips was about 1,000 plus pips. Okay, but then it actually lies onto the within the lines that we have drawn, so it took into account. And not only that, it went on and on and on and on. So that was a very significant. So you've already marked that one there. Here you can always add on another line here where it started that that rise up, but then that's the wick that it does, that it actually stopped at. So this is another thing. So now you've got that area there, for example. Let me just, okay, so you've got that now there. So that looks like a nicely drawn what do you call that, area or zone. Okay, so we still need for AUD USD to show us the power of buyers only if it pierces through all these red lines. If it does, it's a very good sign. Okay, then it makes us believe that it got more room to go up, because the buyers in the top mover section are also paying a lot of attention to the buy orders. Okay, they've got long-term orders and everything on the buy of NZD, okay, and AUD. So here it may actually be the case, but we want to always be more and more sure. Now, how do we be more sure is when it actually pierces through, like I've mentioned, that zone there. So it needs to go above, and then you've got that idea. I understand that usually you will start to draw loads and loads of lines, but you don't actually need to do that. You just focus on the peak that has got the biggest move, but closest to the price now. Okay, this is closest to the price now, and so is this one. But I didn't actually draw further up lines because now this is the closest one, and that's a significant move downwards. Okay, that's more significant at this moment of time, most recent and most significant. Okay, I want to keep the peak close to the price now, because I don't want to end up drawing too many lines as well. But the other thing as well is you don't need to draw too many lines, because you can actually use the psychological levels as well as your measure. So here you've got the closest psychological level here, 7750, which is a very strong psychological level. So prices need to go above these lines, but go above the 7750 as well. If it does go up and up and up, and you got these long candles piercing through 7750, for example, going up to 7760, then you know that it is heading upwards, but maybe it would then at the same time go past this as well. If it does go past this very strong resistance and is heading towards 7780, then it's going past 80 as well, then you know you've got a potential upward type opportunity, more upward type opportunity. Then you go to lower time frame, look for ABCD patterns with the C point that has actually found correction on either one of the EMA lines. Okay, hope that's clear, guys. Yeah, this video will be a little bit on the longest side. It will be about an hour plus, okay, an hour 25, but it is for you guys to keep, so you guys can keep that, make a file, a folder for your own references. Okay, part 1, I label it part 2, part 3, and I'll give titles on the part 2 as well, and basically then it'll help you to understand. This one here, you can label it as the first steps on trend and picking the pairs. Okay, no problem. Okay, most welcome, guys. Okay, I think that's what I have for you guys. I'll be making videos, a couple more tutorial type, very short, maybe 10-15 minutes, you know, a few videos to go over some patterns, to go over the Fibonacci, to go over support resistance as well, so you can focus on that, and give you some samples on each one video. So if you've got 4 to 5 videos, tutorial ones, between 5 to 10 minutes each, you can already start to revise and go through these videos, you know, equip yourself with the strategies as well. And as we go on to live webinars, we can always sharpen, and you've got questions for me, and we can do that. That's probably the best way to learn, and it will speed up your understanding, but most importantly, your practical application of the strategy onto your live trades. That's the most important thing, because who doesn't want to see results fast, right? So this is what we can actually do. All right, guys, I think that's all I have for you guys. I would like to thank you guys for joining today's part 1 of the members webinar for you guys, and we will see you guys again soon. I'll have you guys alerted on any schedule that I have. I think most probably the live one will be on Monday, I think, or Tuesday. I will have one organized, but I'll inform you guys and send you guys the recordings anyway. Okay, all right, good. So that's it. And once again, I would like to thank you guys for your time. Have a very good night, and we'll see you guys soon. And meantime, message me on Telegram. Any questions you have, feel free. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.